Hello, 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 everybody. Move this a little. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Okay, and we're getting ready for another stream. And you'll see I have Flash open today. I haven't used much Flash since I got my new computer. In fact, I don't think I've used it at all. So we'll see if it still works properly. Because if you don't know, I've recently switched from Photoshop to Clip Studio Paint because Photoshop does something a little janky when I try to draw in it. We'll see if Flash behaves itself. But tonight I kind of... last week, Chico challenged me to do an animation at the end of the stream, and that kind of got me itchy for some more animating. And this is a set of exercises that I had found many years ago, and I've never done. I don't think I've ever done any of them except possibly the bouncy ball, but I've never done a straight bouncing ball. It's always had some kind of twist to it. So I just wanted to kind of go through and see how many of these I can knock out. They should be pretty basic stuff, but as with most basic exercises, there's a reason you start with them, and there's a reason why you go through them first. I don't think I'll be picking up most of the nuances that I'm supposed to be getting out of these exercises, but it'll be fun to see how many I can actually do, and if I can pick up anything. But yeah, anyways, so the first one is obviously a ball bouncing in place, no decay, so it's supposed to loop over and over again. The second one is ball bouncing across the screen, so from one side to another. Generally speaking, that means there is a decay, so it'll gradually, bounce lower and lower. A brick falling from a shelf onto the ground. I haven't heard of this one before, but I'm assuming that's for weight. To the bouncy ball is mostly for timing and for spacing, so that you know how to make it look a little more natural, and you can incorporate some squash and stretch. Brick falling, I'm not sure what the principles are for it. I know definitely for weight. I guess since it's a brick, it doesn't squash much, so it has a heavier consistency than a ball, so it won't stretch around. So I don't know. I'll see what that's about. Simple character head turn. That one should be fun. Maybe I can do one of the Jets Black Nuzlocke characters, but it's basically just turning from side to side. No crazy animation or acting. And number 5 is character head turn with anticipation. Anticipation, I don't think they mean the emotion of anticipating. They mean anticipation as in the anticipating, the motion you do before you release into the action. Okay, so when there's an action, there's an opposite action. When you're about to throw something, you don't just push your hand forward and let go of the ball and it flies out of your hand. Usually you will bring your hand back behind your head and then throw it forward. That bringing it back, that wind up, is the anticipation. Similar with if you're jumping, if you're about to do a big jump, you'll squat down slightly and then throw your body into the air. So the squat down is the anticipation. So we'll try to get through those 5 today. I don't know how far I'll get. I might even get further, but we'll just aim for that for now. All right. Hi, Tails. Tails is here. She says, animation, scowy, but exciting. Yes, animation is a lot of fun. So let's let's just jump right into it. This first one is the bouncing ball. So I'm actually gonna... How should I do this, I wonder? Maybe each one should be... Let's just make each one a layer, I guess. Let's just get started. I was gonna name the layer bouncing ball, but you know what? Let's just start, and then I'll like make a folder and put it in. Maybe name the folder that, yeah. Because I don't know, some of these might need a sketch and then like additional stuff. But so a bouncing ball that goes up and down. Well, first of all, we need a ground, right? And on the ground, we'll have the ball. So pretty simple. And let's say the ball, it takes a second to bounce. So I'm gonna go to the 24 frame mark, because 24, a frame is a drawing, and there are usually 24 drawings in a second, which means you draw 24 different images. Generally speaking, you don't draw exactly 24 images. You will draw maybe 12 images, and each image gets played twice. It's doubled up. You're seeing each one twice. So yeah, and then, so I extended the frames. I'm going to create a keyframe on the ball and the last one, because that's where we're going to end up at. And then about in the middle, I want it to be in the air. So I'm just gonna cheat and move it up. Just cheat and move it up into the air. So that's basically what it is. The ball starts on the ground, goes into the air, and then comes back down. Now, obviously that doesn't look very good, so we're going to start adding frames. Now, just gonna insert some keyframes. Now the part I always get confused about the bouncy ball is, when does it stretch? I think it stretches while it's in the middle. So I'm gonna apply a bit of a squash here. And of course you have to kind of keep in mind conservation of mass. So if you're squashing it in, you also have to stretch it out. That mass has to go somewhere. Alright. I want more frames on the top, and for it to play a little closer together, because it slows down at the top. Now I've only left 2 frames at the top. I want it to kind of sit a little longer. But it stops really suddenly. So at the very end, I do want it to go up a little bit. Maybe around here. And then when it hits the ground, I think I'm going to copy this last frame. Copy frame. Paste frame. I want it to squash a little when it hits the ground so that it gets wider. Maybe at here it's like the stretchiest because it's really falling. That might be a little too much. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, so I'm gonna take away the last frame being the same as the first frame because as a loop it holds a little too long. Yeah, that's a little better. Tails says, why animation practice today? Well, I guess, last week, since I ended with a bit of animation, I just got kind of the animation bug. I just kind of wanted to try it. This list of exercises has been something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. Just never really got around to it. So I suppose this is just my excuse to finally do it. Bouncing ball. Alright, well. The next exercise is ball bouncing across the screen. Alright, so again, we're going to start with the ground. And the ball's going to go like this. So each bounce gets lower than the next. I don't know if I want to keep it 24 frames and like a second long, but we'll start with that. You know, these exercises, you know, bouncy balls and all that, it's rather simple things, but you kind of learn a lot when you do the simple things, and I've always shirked my exercises. Apparently before you draw, you're supposed to do drawing exercises too. I found out today that one of the exercises is drawing... Well, I didn't find out about the exercise today, but I found out that this exercise is rather hard. Is where you draw two points on the screen, and then you try to draw a line that connects them. And that's the exercise. It's to... The drawing exercises are to warm you up. And I'm doing a lot better than earlier today. But earlier I was doing this exercise, and I kept missing the second circle every time. To make it a little harder, you can put a third dot and try to connect all three. But yeah, it's just to kind of, you know, warm you up. Another exercise, warm-up, is to draw circles of similar size and connecting them, and just fill a whole page of that. These aren't exercises, they're warm-ups, but I've always thought warm-ups were like drawing, like doing a whole drawing before you draw, you know. Apparently that's not what it is. My function keys aren't working. Let me see. Let's add flash. This keystroke. Clear. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's better. It wasn't working because in Photoshop you needed to press 2 modifier keys and then Z, and in Flash it doesn't work. So yeah, I'm going to start with a ball. It's going to start over here. And then... let's say half a second later. Keyframe. It's here. Half a second later. It's over here. And in the middle, I guess this would have to be around here, actually. Frame. So keyframe and put that in the middle of these two, but not quite as high as that one. And then another half a second later. It's over here. Okay. I think apart from that, everything else is the same. Yeah, so right before it hits the ground, I want it to stretch. The last one I did transforms to make it. This one I'm gonna try to draw out. Drawing a circle is rather difficult. There, I think that's not too bad. Oopsies. Forgot to lock the floor. If you don't lock your bottom layers in Flash, they get erased when you erase the current layers you're on. I don't know if it would stretch the same way, actually. Maybe it would just kind of start lifting off right away. You think? You know? I kind of have the feeling it would kind of do that. Let's put this, copy frame, paste frame. And then at the top, we will have some slowdowns as it starts to come to the top of its curve. Starts to slow down, and then when it starts to go out, it will also stay relatively in place. can't imagine animating on paper without being able to nudge things around. Here. And then I just gotta do the same thing, but over here and over there. Okay, so let's start over here then, where it slowly starts to come. You know, actually, let's move this on screen so we can actually see it. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to see the first frame. Oops. Do you have a favorite sort of thing to animate? Be right back. I'll think about it while Tails bees rise backs. Do I have a favorite thing to animate? I haven't animated that many things, honestly. This is kind of not becoming less of a bouncy ball and more of a stretchy slug. Hopefully it still reads as a ball when I'm done. I've animated bats. Those are rather fun. I've animated a rat. You guys have seen it in my starting soon screen. Alright, I don't know how well that works, but let's give it a try. Oops, forgot to get rid of the first one. copy frames, insert new symbol. Let's make it a graphic. Symbol bouncing ball. Okay. Paste that. Go back to our scene. We can now delete this. Yes. And now let's take a look. There we go. Okay, so it's a little slow on the uptake there. Move this over, and I want to insert frame. I'm gonna insert a frame right here. Move this one up. Where did I? This one up. Might just have to squash them together. See, this is one of the things I struggle the most with when it comes to animation is timing. Getting the right timing down. Because if a motion doesn't look right to me, I just start adding more and more frames. That's not always the best thing to do in every situation, because then it stretches things out. Oops. Need a clear keyframe. Let's see what happens with that. Okay, I've realized I have made a folly of a decision to move that up. It should remain on the floor. Perhaps one more frame going down, it would be helpful. Let's see if I can move things over slightly to make room for one more. One more keyframe right here. Right before landing. See what that looks like. This one has no speed at all. that's too fast. One here. It's too fast, so one more frame coming out of this stretch. My favorite thing to animate certainly is not a bouncy ball, but maybe it's a cat. I'm starting to feel like this is less of a ball and more of a I want to play around a bit now. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be exercises, but what if my brush is too big? Sometimes giving a ball a face just turns it into a cat. Oopsies. Hello, Chico! Tail says it is a fastball. You could say it's a fastball. You're doing... How are you doing, Chico? That's the bounciest ball I've ever laid eyes on. Hello, Chico. Back. Slug time. One of the things that seemed like a pain in the butt to me about animation is that you kind of have to wait until the first round is done to see if it's working or not. Not necessarily. You can always toggle between the two. You know, I can see, okay, this to here is you know, going, and then this here. You can do it small by small bits. You don't have to wait for the whole thing, but there is this kind of satisfaction that comes when you finally have everything ready for that first round. But you know, in like back then when they were doing traditional hand-drawn on paper, they literally couldn't see how it was doing until they sent their drawings to the person with the computer, and like it's photographed into the computer and like cleaned up and printed on film or whatever and like played for you. So what they would do is they would take 2 or 3 drawings and they would flip it. They would have like a separate piece of paper between their fingers and kind of flip through to see how the 3 frames they're working on currently look. It's just, we don't have to wait that long, and We don't have time to test each individual frame. You can kind of pre-visit yourself. I have arrived. I'm doing horrific tales. Terrific tales. There are no exercises, only happy exercises. I don't know that saying fits with this situation, but sure, we'll go with that. Squash. That's the tail. Even the tail got squash. There's something nice about drawing cats because they're so fluid. They're like a solid that's actually a liquid. I think there's a word for that, actually. Cats are made out of the same thing that oobleck is. It's the same form of matter. There's 5 states of matter. You have gas, liquid, solid, plasma, and cats. So you can kind of make them move in weird ways, but they're not like completely liquefied. And it's a lot of fun having something that's a little formless, you know? Like, you don't have to worry so much about anatomy when you're animating cats. At least, not realistic cats. If you're doing realistic cats, there's still a little bit of give there, but you have to be a little more conscious of the space they occupy. I'm talking about like really simplified cartoony cats. You could say like anything that's really simplified and cartoony could be animated really loosely and without form, but like there's something about cats that just lends well to that idea, you know? Kind of want to And they also have the tail, which gives good secondary motion, and the ears help with you know, flow, because you can see where they've been. Sometimes as I'm going, I think of little details, like giving him sparkle eyes. Not sparkle eye, like there's a different word for this. The I'm gonna get you murder eyes. And then I'll just add them, and then later when I go and play through, I realize it didn't really work with that scene that I wanted, or that motion. It like kind of doesn't read well, and then I have to go back and fix it. It's the same problem I have with drawing something and then looking up reference afterwards. For this last bounce, I kind of want him to go, to continue to tumble forward. So rather than jumping again, he kind of starts to roll this way. I don't know if I'll be able to get him to turn back around eventually, but I can start trying. Oh no! Oh no! We're going off screen! You won't be able to see the butthole! And finish. This panel is mostly off the screen now. Let's see what it looks like. The last few don't read very well. You can't really tell what's happening. But I think with a few more frames, it would come across a little better. I kind of want to go back in just real quick with a little eraser and maybe clean up some of these ears. Wait, why does this cat have like 5 legs? Oops. I like it. That's my bouncing ball. Tumbleweed Cat. What's next? Tragic, so cute. You can't go around with a cat animation. Oh, the ball turned into a cutie. That's why there are so many cat memes. The internet is made out of that matter. Cat is its own state of matter. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna grab all of this. Copy frames, insert new symbol, graphic symbol, bouncing cat. Just paste frames. Go back to the scene, then get rid of these now. The next in the lineup is brick falling from a shelf onto the ground. Okay. Brick falling from a shelf onto the ground. So we're gonna start with a brick. And we need a shelf. I think I can do a better brick. Yeah, something like that. Let's make the shelf its own layer. I don't know. I think I'm not digging the perspective on this. Because if it's a shelf, first of all, probably would be a little higher up. So kind of in this angle. Something about being in Flash makes me forget how to draw. I suddenly have a different side of my brain turned on. And I'm suddenly like, oh, what's perspective? Shelf like this, maybe? No, I don't like that shelf. How do you draw a shelf? Are you doing a challenge? Who needs that? Certainly not me. Cats have a 5th hidden leg now. Yes, Chico, I'm doing these exercises that I linked on the Discord. uh, just a bunch of animation exercises that I've always wanted to give a try. They're just like the basics, what you should have done as your dues, I suppose. But now I'm realizing I don't know how to draw shelves. So maybe animation was a little too advanced for me. I'm supposed to have learned how to draw furniture first. Okay, so that's my best attempt at a shelf today. If you don't think it's a shelf, I'm gonna put a book on it. Maybe another book like this, smaller book, very dangerously close to falling off. Maybe a pot of some kind. Okay. And then maybe this is the floor. Yeah, that's my best shelf today. Oh, okay, I'll check it out so I can animate along. Yeah, I started with a bouncy ball and then a bouncing ball across the screen, which then turned into a cat by accident. But those shouldn't take you too long at all, so have some fun with that. Hopefully I'll be on to the next exercise by the time you catch up. If I'm not, like, super slow and noodly. Alright, so that's my scene. Oops, what happened? Insert frame. Alright, so our brick would kind of be right here. That's the brick. And I'm going to have it eventually end up down here. Oops. I gave myself a lot of space because I kind of want some anticipation. So, the first thing is, why would a brick just randomly start falling? So I'm gonna have it, maybe it was kind of on the edge already, and it started to tilt. So it kind of... I don't know. I kind of like things to make sense, so I'm imagining it tilting slightly. Very slowly. forgot to lock my shelf again. Move this over. Plot twist, the bricks are also cats! Ah! Oh, I should put a cat, like, pushing it or something. I'll do that at the end. Okay, I'm not gonna worry too much about timing right now. I'm just going to do the actual keyframes. I think it's not a bouncy ball, but it's still going to bounce a little. Because it's going to hit the ground. Maybe bounce isn't the right word, but it's going to like fall over. And maybe a little bit of stretch. I don't know. I think I turned it a bit too much. Just remembered another thing I like to have for my pen is this one should be keystroke small brush or brush small. Oh, actually, just do that. Make it simple. And then keystroke. Oops. Down like that. I don't know if I can. Can I make this lighter? What if I just chose a lighter blue? Kinda works. Let's see if I can find the other blue I was using. Yeah, that's the same blue. Alright. Okay, so I want a lot of anticipation before this. And then this to here I want to happen pretty fast. So I'm going to bring it in to give each one only 2 frames. That might be too short. It might be too fast. But we'll see. I think it works. I like it. Maybe just a little bit more. Well, in any case, let's just put in the in-betweens for this part first and see how I feel after that. The first in-between will be right in the middle. Let's see. So, you planned that since the beginning. Come on. Plot twist, the bricks are also cats. Plot twist of the plot twist, the room is a cat. Oh no. We're just inside of a fleshy cat bod. So I hope everyone's been having a good day. I went to work today despite it being a day where we didn't have to open shop. And it was because we were having a printer delivered. This printer I've been waiting for I feel like more than half a year now since I requested for it. But since I work at a university, everything takes forever to get done. So, you know, the printer people had to contact the university people who had to, you know, fill out the contracts and all that. So we finally got a printer delivered. And it's the wrong friggin' printer. Whee! Good job, everyone. You did a great. Yeah, so, the printer that I wanted was the Canon IPF 4000, but Canon has, in that same family of models, a Canon 4000S. And they got me the 4000S, even though I asked for the 4000. You might not think it's a big deal, but the 4000 has 12 ink tanks, whereas the S only has 8. So you do the math. It's like, you know, you expect me to make the same quality production with this machine, and so I don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully they take it back and like get us the right one. Basically the S version is best for like banner printing and signages, which isn't really something we are focusing on over in the art department. Don't you know? Now, you know me, I don't like to draw man-made objects. That's because with a square-shaped thing, you don't have as much room to cheat when it comes to perspective and volume as you do with a circular squishy object like something made out of flesh. Oh man, because I need this to then turn into this, which means it's pretty much going to be flat along this side. And then I need to turn this around, which I'm kind of altering by accident. I think it got smaller. My brick got smaller. Let me see if I can just expand it out a bit. Oop! I dropped it. I meant to deselect it, but I pressed enter and it felt like I literally just dropped the brick by accident. Like I was holding it in front of me and then it fell. It gave me a bit of a heart attack. Animation exercises. Let's put this under pictures. Do I have a animation? Okay, now let's have a little bit of fun. How are you doing, Chico? Are you getting closer? Are you catching up? Have you surpassed me? Chico tends to do things very fast, and it's very shocking to me because I'll be working on one thing, and then he'll be like, "Oh wow, I gotta do this too," and then I finish the thing that I'm working on. He's like, "I'm already on the third one." know how his back feet should look. Maybe just like sitting sideways. I don't know. Kind of want his last face to be like super proud of himself. Just like, ah! I'll leave the paw where it is. I don't know if I want to change it. I do want to give him front paws in general though, so let me see. It's right here where he lifts his paw up. Put one more right here. Cats need to have smooth movements. Let's see how I can transition from that face to that face, if it's even possible. I'm gonna cut this whole part off. What would go in between? Something like this. Okay. I thought it was crashing for a second. You don't have to tell me I haven't saved. Just either save it for me or leave me alone. Huh? What'd I do? I erased the wrong face. Alright. Gee, that gremlin expression. I'm so evil. The power of animation. Forget about rabbits. This is a new sensation. Rabbids? You mean the video game? I've never played Rabbids. For a long time, I thought they had something to do with the Rayman series, for some reason. Also, my sister came back from college for the summer, and she McFreakin forgot the Switch. No Switch for me this summer. I think she has a roommate who's also coming back somewhat in our area soon, so hopefully they can bring it back for us. But I wanna play. Let me play. One more. One more. One more river. Oh, our cat doesn't have a tail. Good golly gosh, cat. Dost thou wishes to have a tail? This is the best opportunity to also curl this tail slightly. Eh? Where's my in between? There it is. Flash seems to be working just fine, guys. Adobe Flash is still working just fine. If it makes you feel better, I can't play with my Switch either because I don't have one. Ah, I'm so poor and lonely. Oh, I'm sorry, Chico. I'm sorry, Chico. I wish everyone could play video games of all kinds. Let me play, yes. Big let me in energy. Wait, they don't have anything to do with Rayman. Nope. You gotta play Rabbids plus Mario. I've actually seen some of the animations from that game, and the Mario characters in the Raymans have so much personality to them. Even the Mario characters who normally don't have much personality seem to like develop a lot more in that game. Whoever did that game really knows how to, you know, when you're playing a video game, I'm okay with like self-insert characters and like, oh, you're supposed to be the character, so like let's not make them have too much. Like that's okay for some games, but yeah, I like having a character like like Link from the Wind Waker had a personality. He was like a brick. He's kind of lazy. He cared about his sister. He had a bit of an attitude. He liked to make cat sounds. Paste frames. He wasn't just like completely blank. Like Breath of the Wild Link is great, but he just doesn't have much of a personality. Let's see now. The next one is simple character head turn. For a Final Fantasy character, not so... Wait. Cats are agents of chaos sent by Loki. To me, a self-insert character is fine depending on the game. Like a Stardew Valley type game, perfect. For a Final Fantasy character, not so perfect. Yes, and I feel like some games get it confused. Like they don't know which one they're supposed to have. Which one would make it better. Okay, let's see. Let's bring this back in. Remove frames. And we're going to start with a head. Okay, and then we're gonna copy and paste, and we're going to flip it. I think it's been a while since I've done this. Let me see if I can remember. Okay, and then in the middle, like I've had to do most of these exercises, just I wasn't doing them as exercises. I was doing them as part of actual animations. When you are doing an actual animation, you kind of have a lot to focus on, a lot going on in your brain. Whereas when you just kind of boil it down to certain tasks like this, it lets your brain focus on one thing or another. Since he's turning that way, I think I'm gonna make the hair go this way. And since he's turning that way, I'm gonna have him looking in the direction that he's turning. Already I'm bringing the eyes down by accident. They're not following the same line of action. Okay. And then if we in between it, that's a little rough, but seems like another thing that I have trouble with is volume. Keeping the same volume between frames. Things that I animate tend to get thicker and thinner and heavier, fatter and smaller as they move from one thing to another, which isn't always bad, but it is not great if it's not done intentionally. There. I think I fixed it though. Of course, part of it comes from the fact that I've always animated digitally, so I've never had to, like, practice that sort of thing. When you're animating digitally, you can kind of just trace over and then move the thing. So I could technically just trace this head and then move it slightly so that it's in the right position. But that kind of technique is great when you've got an actual project to get done. Taking shortcuts isn't as great when you're actually trying to do exercises. Miscalculated on the frame rate. Let me bring that over. Somewhere in the middle of these two. The exact center. And I think there are ways to pull it off in traditional paper animation too. Like, you could move the sheet of paper that you're drawing on over top of the previous drawing so that, you know, it's slightly shifted over. So where you want to draw is right on top of your previous frame. So, you know, it's I'm not to say that people back then had perfect sense of form and you know, could just do it by hand. That would be witchcraft. That's very off. Okay, when I animate, I cut all corners possible. How can you make good strokes in Flash? I can't wait to download my consciousness to Minecraft and let robots rule the world! Millions of years of evolution in the brain still can't focus on more than one thing at a time. No, but we can switch tasks very quickly to give us the illusion that we are. And the answer to your Flash question is you can't. You can't make good strokes in Flash. It's impossible. I really want to try TV Paint. But it's way too expensive. The standard version is only $500, which is way better than the over $1,000 price point that the full thing has. And as far as I could tell, the only thing it doesn't have are layer blending modes. But that's a big sacrifice. I don't know if I would pay $500 just to have blending modes, though. So, standard might just be fine. But, it seems to be a very good software for traditional drawing and animation. Oh, Chico! The reason I can't do more frames for animation in Clip is because I didn't buy the Pro version, or whatever it's called. I just have like the one below it, and it makes it so that you don't have as many makes it so that you can't do as many frames. Okay, so how are we doing on time? I've got time. I want to try this again, but with one of my characters. Which character should I do a turnaround for? Not turnaround, but like face turn. Which character should I do? Do you want me to find a full version for you? What do you mean find a full version? I either have it or I don't. I would have to pay for a full version. TV Paint is alright, but to apply effects you kind of have to rasterize them, possibly ruining your animation. I didn't think TV Paint used vectors, so I don't know why you would have to rasterize it if it's already raster. Man, when I think of traditional animation, I think of all the hard work. Those guys were real troopers. Yeah, they were. Yeah. Especially having to, like, color in the cells and all that. It's similar to Clip, though. Yeah, that's my fear. There's so cool things you can do there as well. Oh, that sucks. For free. Let's see. Okay, so maybe I kind of want to do Sir Francis, but I'm a little worried because I don't actually know what the structure of his head looks like, or how it works, rather. Maybe this will be my chance to figure it out. I always wondered about Pokemon evolution and aging, because I don't think it correlates. I think if you're a Charmander and then you happen to evolve into a Charmeleon, you didn't, like, mature in terms of lifespan or age. But maybe something happens that, like, matures you physiologically? Because I really can't see some certain species, some evolved species, as being anything less than an adult version of the starting stage, you know? Like, I always feel like Sir Francis got older when he evolved, even though it all happened within the course of less than a year. So he was the same age when he started. I mean, clearly evolution doesn't correlate because, or like it correlates, but it's not causate. Since in the anime there's a Trico, I think, that's like really old. So you can grow old without evolving. But can you stay young if you do evolve? Young as in, like, emotionally, physically, mentally. I feel like there's some growing that just happens when you evolve. Which is why some Pokemon seem to change their personality so drastically. When they evolve, like Pikachu almost didn't even want to, a little bit from feeling like it might become a different Pokemon, you know? So you know how as you grow your brain develops. I always assume that for Pokemon evolution the brain gets all that development at once. So you're not instantly an adult, but you have the capacity to think more in depth when evolved. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because like a baby, a human child, infant thing doesn't really have the capacity to learn more. Like, you could put it through classes, and it wouldn't really retain or process any of that information, despite, you know, having the same experience as maybe an adult, because their brains just can't do it. So maybe that part, like, they don't suddenly gain the experience and the knowledge of having lived to adulthood, but their biology has matured. I like that take. The synapses aren't developed. The brain cannot connect correctly yet. Pikachu is a vampire. Any normal rodent would be dead by now. Hey, I mean, rodents, at least rats, have about the lifespan of 2 to 3 years. Maybe 4 if you're lucky. And Ash hasn't aged a day, so he had a birthday, but he's still 10 years old. So Pikachu's he's still in his first year, as far as I can tell. Maybe second, if depending on how long he's been with Oak. Okay. This is the hard part, trying to match up in the middle. You know what? Let's just do it over top. Maybe that'll work. The nose is about in the middle here. Yeah, drawing in Flash is a little bit like drawing with a ballpoint pen. The strokes never look good, but you can make it appear less terrible. And to give Flash credit, I have seen people make good art in Flash somehow. Don't know how they do it. You're asking the wrong person for that. One of my favorite artists on DeviantArt, John Sue, used to draw primarily in Flash. It's something to do with keeping the aesthetic overall kind of wonky and letting it be deliberately not crunchy, wobbly. somewhere in the middle, I'd say about here. I think I'm just gonna do 2 more frames. It won't be as smooth, but I think we get the point. Kind of want to get at least the last... the last one that I said I would do today done today. Oh, I forgot his tusks. I'm gonna bring his face in a little bit. I'm gonna let his ear trail just slightly on this side. Paste frames, and I'm gonna just use the one that I drew before and edit it. Oopsies. Gotta erase all the loose stuff like the ears and the fire, but I think the head structure, because it's just a simple head turn, it's pretty much symmetrical on both sides. This ear is still the dragging one because he's still turning in the same direction. I think everything kind of came out slanted when I drew it. So let me just unslant everything. You guys, if you haven't read this manga called Animal Land, I think I've talked about it before, but it's been a while, so I'm going to talk about it again, because some time ago, I asked my parents asked me what I wanted for my birthday, or maybe it was Christmas, and I told them, you can just check my Amazon wish list, or like, shopping list, whatever it's called. And on my list, I had a manga called Animal Land. And for some reason, my parents decided to get me volumes 1, 2, and 4. So, this past month, or I guess this month, July, the beginning of July was my birthday. I got some birthday money from my grandma. And so I went on and I finally ordered that coveted 3rd volume that I've been missing on my shelf. If nothing else, it satisfies the need for sequence. But it arrived earlier this week, and I finally got around to reading it. I've already read the whole series, by the way. I usually don't buy books that I haven't read yet. I like to have some understanding of the book first. You know what? I'm gonna bring these a little closer. Maybe that'll help it run smoother. The ear is doing something weird. Where was I? What was I talking about? What's going on? Who are you? Where am I? What's this? What's this place? Oh yeah, okay. So I was reading it. And if you don't know, the whole premise of Animal Land is that it's a world where humans just don't exist for whatever reason. And all animals are like these weird kind of evolved versions of their species where they're a little bit furry, I guess you could say. There are some that are they're literally just animals. Like, they just look like animals. There are some that are like weird anime animal people. There are some that are like mutated monster versions of an animal. And then there are like normal animals that are the size of a mountain. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. I love it. I love what would you call it? Like style dissonance almost. Like when it doesn't really feel like the two things should go together, but they do. I like that sort of aesthetic. So, well, at least when it's done well. So in this world where, like, the animals are all weird and stuff, they still eat each other. And they can't talk to each other. So even though they're anthropomorphic and they have like human emotions sometimes and they look like people sometimes, they still act like animals and they can't understand each other. And the premise of the story is that a human baby shows up and he can understand all animal voices. So he can, and all animals can understand him. And even he's like not a, like he comes into the story as a baby, like an actual infant who has to drink milk, but he has like mental processes that are far more advanced. It's all kind of explained later, but in any case, it's really cool because he has to figure out how to live in this world where he wants to help the herbivores because they keep getting eaten and their parents are getting eaten and they're like sad that it's happening and like life is sad and stuff, and it's, you know, he doesn't like it when his friends get hurt, but then he also has to reconcile that with the fact that the carnivores have to eat, and like if the meat eaters don't have anything to eat, they'll die. And he doesn't want them to die. Like, you know, they could be friends if they wanted to. They're just usually big jerks and about it. And I kind of want to use some of that for N's backstory. Like, I suddenly had this inspiration that, oh, maybe I can do something like that. Because the world of Pokemon it's similar. It's definitely different because Pokemon can understand each other. So right off the bat, you know, the whole thing about Animal Land is this kid wants everyone to be able to understand everyone and like be friends. But the animals are like, well, no, if we understand each other, then we can't eat our prey because we'll be friends and like, you know, we'll starve to death. In Pokemon, it's a little different. It's more like we understand that we can't, that since we have to eat you to like survive, you know, no hard feelings basically. I kind of want to tell a little mini story, which is cool because I had this idea to do sort of a One Piece style flashback in the next episode, and I was really stuck. I was like super stuck on what to do for it until until the book came in and I gave it a read and was reminded of how much I love this series, and now I just really want to bring it in. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite sort of conflicts in animal stories is what we gonna do? We gotta eat you. You're saying Zootopia is a copy of Animal Land? So you're saying Zootopia is a copy of Animal Land? Well, no, because Zootopia has no problems. There's because the birds and the bugs and the fish don't talk in Zootopia, so you can just eat them all you want. And the animals are all just animals, I guess. They're basically just people. And whenever they do eat meat, it's like, you know, burgers and pizza. It's they basically don't hunt either. Also, the style in Zootopia is very consistent. From one character to another, they're very, very consistent. So there's no dissonance there either. Copy frames. Simple head turn. You should try Toon Boom. By the way, that seems to be the industry standard. I've heard of Toon Boom. Not sure. I haven't really looked into it, but from what I've heard, people like it. Gotta put my fingers on the outlet. Wait, what? Ashes 40. Pokemon celebrated 20th anniversary. Yep. Personally don't like it all that much. I downloaded it, but having read it, I think the printed version might look better. It's possible. I don't think it matters so much because I read it on the computer first. I read the whole series online, and I think it's good. But that might just be an aesthetic thing. Like, I recognize that the animals look kind of ugly, but I like it. It's the kind of ugly that is very pleasing to me. What's the next one? Character head turn with anticipation. So let's see. I think... Let's do a simple head this time. Let's do little dog. Gotta give him his fluffy cheeks. You know, it's really funny that when I first conceived of Lil Dog and Fire Dog's character designs, when I was first working through what they should look like, Little Dog was the one with the floof on the head. So, like, I had two Pat Rats, right? One was, I knew was gonna be, like, angry, and the other I knew was gonna be happy. And that was, like, my first sort of idea for their personalities. So a couple of things that set them apart. One, the shape language between their ears, right? Fire Dog has the pointy ears. Lil Dog has the round ears. Right off the bat, Little Dog is a lot friendlier looking because he's fluffy and has round shapes. Whereas Fire Dog is sharp and ready to kick your butt. Fire Dog has stripes that go down the side of his face. they kind of look like cheetah stripes or tiger stripes that kind of wrap around down. Gives them that sort of like they're kind of like raptor marks too, like Pidgeot. Pidgeot? How do you pronounce it? Pidgeot? Pidgeot. Little Dog's face mask is smaller, because I don't know if the mask is smaller or if his eyes are bigger, but they kind of just go across. Again, still very round, a little bit standard. While Fire Dog's markings follow the contour of his mask, Little Dog's just comes down from his face. So those are the main differences. The thing that changed though is when I first designed the characters, like in my notebooks and stuff, I thought Fire Dog should have a flat head and like spiky cheeks to give him that like sharp edge and like sleek top to go kind of like, I'm gonna come after you. Whereas Little Dog had fluffy hair on the top to kind of give him that sort of goofy look, and his face was round because I thought, oh, he should be smooth and like, you know, soft, not spiky. But as it turns out, the spiky hair on the top really kind of goes well with Fire Dog's messy personality, and it mirrors the pointy ears. And then because he has these stripes that go just down, it kind of forces his face to sort of become smooth as well. Sometimes I'll fluff up the cheek things, the marks, and then his like face can fluff next to it. But Little Dog became the one with the fluffy cheeks, because it turns out fluffy cheeks looks adorable. And then his top is though smooth because it looks kind of polished and cute, and that's just a random thing I thought of that for some reason I wanted to talk about. I don't want his ears to be too big. He's not Mickey Mouse. He's a pat rat. Hello, mouse! Very cute pat rats. Thank you. PJOT2. Wait. Little Dog's a bear! Roar! Hello, mouse. Long time no see. Yay! Everyone's here! And let's put in the face markings. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to copy paste this and see what happens. I have this thing about making the wrong eye too big, and I get on other people's case about it. Ooh, yeah, that's really... I tend to get on other people's case about it, but you know, like, because it's going further away in space when you're turned, the farther eye should be bigger and the closer eye should be smaller. But I don't know if it's just the way that I draw or something about the angle that I'm drawing at. I always do it the wrong way and it bothers me. I don't know if it bothers anyone else. But it's often too late when I notice, and then I'm like, the line art's done, the color's down, I don't think I'm gonna fix it. I think I can afford a little bit of touch-up before I go forward. But not too much. Okay, so from here... So the difference between this turnaround and the other turnaround is the anticipation. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, this anticipation isn't like an emotional anticipation of the character. It's an animation technique where before an action there's an opposite action to sort of build up tension, kind of wind up before you release into the action. So we're going to start from this and end on this. But before I start turning, I'm going to have him kind of how do I want it? Maybe just sort of looks up slightly. The ears might go down slightly because maybe he's turning his head up, maybe he's lifting it a little, but I'm gonna bring those down a little bit. The chin's gonna stay the same. I don't know if that's enough. A lot of these exercises, this is the first time I'm doing them, so I'm just kind of, you know, finding my way as I go. I don't necessarily have training in this regard. It's always nice to have a mentor or a teacher to sort of explain to you why you're doing an exercise. I can draw a bouncy ball on my own, but I might not realize what I'm learning in terms of spacing, in terms of like weight, unless someone explains it to me. And I go, oh, okay. And with at least with the bouncy ball, because it's so ubiquitous as a technique, like everyone has done a bouncy ball. There are videos about it, so those people become sort of your mentor, your guide, your first siblings into the world. Scrunching up their face. I usually just make them blink. Yeah, that blinking is also a very good anticipating movement. I'm gonna have him blink on the turn. Speaking of which, so between this one and this one, which I should move this over. Why did I pick Little Dog for this? Oh no! Little Dog's the worst character to do a blink turn, because his eyes just disappear into his mask. I should have done someone, like, asymmetrical, like Jello. So, a lot of people think Jet is a boy, which is totally understandable, considering, you know, she has the boy avatar's outfit and, you know, sometimes characters in the comic will call her Mister, or they'll call her, a little boy because she kind of looks like one, and she's got, you know, short hair and all that. I don't know, like there are a lot of signs and cartoon shorthands. It's not even like beyond gender stereotypes. There are comic shorthands that are applied to Jet that sort of have been used traditionally in the past to say boy. So I'm aware of these things, and I anticipate that people would think she's a boy. In fact, I put in the first episode that she's a girl, and people still get it wrong. But that was gonna be a big, like, running joke, is that people would just, like, constantly misgender her by accident. It stems from the whole Professor Oak, are you a boy or a girl kind of joke, which so it's, you know, I'm aware of that. What gets me confused is when people think Lil Dog is a girl, which I completely don't see. Like, at no point did I think, oh, I'm going to give him feminine traits to make people, like, confused about that. No, that's he's a little boy. How do you get that confused? But after it was pointed out, I kind of see it. It's just such a shock. Kind of funny. Makes me think of Mouse's comic, in which I can't tell any of the characters' genders. Like, every character that I've been like, oh, okay, boy. No, girl? Okay. Oh, that's a girl. What? That's a boy? Cute equals girl. 0 for the rest of my life. I will never get over the eyelashes comments ever. I mean, you have to admit, even I as a kid would give all of my girls eyelashes and all of my boys no eyelashes. Like, that was just the thing to do. I have these characters that are literally just heads of cats. and then feet. I think it looked like that. Shoot, I don't remember. I think his eyes were like that. Can't remember now. Each one had a different style eye, a different style marking on its body, but then its feet were just like this. Oh. Looks like Flash finally crashed on me. It couldn't take it. It couldn't take the old art. The old designs. But yeah, that one that I drew was the main character, a boy. And then the girl cat would have eyelashes. Girl. And that's just how it read. Hold on a sec. I think something went wrong because my tablet isn't registering. There we go. Cool. Little Dog looks so weird without his big eyes. It couldn't take the no eyelashes. I'm really lucky that Flash never crashes on me. It crashes quite frequently, which is why I'm always saving. I guess, you know, it's eyelashes kind of come from the idea that if girls are wearing mascara, their eyelashes are a little more prominent. So you have characters like Daisy Duck, who would have eyelashes and clothes, or like more clothes than the boys, namely shoes. Girls tend to get shoes. Boys don't get to have shoes a lot of the times. They just go around barefoot. Donald, his nephews, even Scrooge only has like what are they called? The little spats? Scrooge McDuck wears spats but no shoes. Hello, Foxy! Thanks for coming to the stream. I'm doing some animation. Another thing that girls got a lot was bows. Put bows on your character. If it's a bow on in the hair, on the head somewhere, it's a girl. If the bow is on the chest, or you know, like where a bow tie would be, it's a boy. It's kind of weird. Fire Dog's eyes, when they're half closed, just make him look really mischievous. I'm not sure how I can get him to not look like that. I definitely don't want him to accidentally look seductive. So I'll take mischievous over that, at least. Here's one thing I can do. Yeah, it's make the mask smaller when he closes his eyes, maybe. I don't think that's how I normally do it in the comic, but... And I love what you're doing. Want to see how my drawing is going? Yes, Foxy! Are you gonna drop it in Tails' server? I'd love to take a look at it. You mean longbows, like archers? Yes, if a girl has a longbow in her hair that she can shoot arrows from. Zero, what kind of things were you taking into account when designing Sir Francis? Which Sir Francis? The final form? When I was... let me think. So Tepigs have this thing on their face. That thing. I had an idea to incorporate my fire symbol into it. When I was a kid, I developed a sort of elemental system with sprites and deities and stuff all in the bag, and each element had a symbol. So my elemental circle is fire. Let me make this bigger. Let me see if I can remember this. It's been a while, so I can't remember. I don't know if I remember it perfectly. Fire. I think. Shoot. Fire. The opposite of fire was. Let's see. I might have them in the wrong order, but water, air, grass, and rock, I think. Earth? Maybe that's the right... No, I think water and air were mixed. I think it was something like this. And it's possible that it was just the 4 of them. I can't remember if it was 5 or 4. It was something like this. And it was cool because then in the middle, I think I had like different things. Like air plus water would be water cooling down. So it would produce ice, which would be a secondary. Water plus earth would produce life. I forget what the symbol for life was, but it's something like that, I guess. I don't remember what these two produced. Earth and stone, was it? Earth and stone. I don't remember what those two produced. I think these two, the fire and air, was like energy. I think fire and stone was something like steel or magma or something. I don't remember. But it was something like this. So I took this symbol for fire, and I decided to incorporate that into every part of Sir Francis's design. So as a Tepig, he has it on his face. Well, first of all, he's a grump. So grumpy pig. And then his little face thing becomes the sort of oak leaf shape of that. And then because he's a grump, I have his ears going back, and having them like slightly together and going back like that looks like a bandana where you tie it on the side and then, you know. Because Sir Francis has this part is all black. And I think when he evolves, I think his second form is still my favorite of the 3. which is funny because I think it's technically my least favorite of the evolutions. Of the evolution line, I like it the least, but of Sir Francis's forms, I liked it the most. Funny how that works. I don't remember how it looks really, because it's been so long since I've drawn it. But he has the circle things here. Okay, so that's about that. And then when it comes to his pattern, the face stripe always has to go down the middle of the eyes, and then you don't always see it, but it has to connect to the ears. So I'll make sure that that happens. And then the ones that go over his shoulder are kind of like swimsuit straps, I guess, or like bra straps. I don't know how else to say it, but they'll go into the S shapes, which if you look through the comic, these S's are always changing direction. One frame they'll be like you know, this and this, and then the next frame they'll be like this and this. So like I'll never be able to get them right, but it doesn't matter because it just doesn't. And then it kind of goes out from the S around to the back, so he's kind of wearing this pants, sort of overalls, I guess you could say. He's kind of wearing some overalls. And then his fire symbol is down here on his belly. So that's where his fire symbol is. It's a little harder to notice because it's brown instead of gold. And of course you guys know where it is on Embor. It's pretty obvious. But Embor has... With Embor, it's always been the shape of the face. I have to give him a proper brow ridge, because the official art for Embor is really ugly. He has his beard comes up like this, his nose, and then it's like eyebrow, and the eyebrow goes like this. And then there's literally no neck. It's just fire and then like arm. So I take it back, Pig Knight. I think Embor is my least favorite of the canon designs. Just because of its body shape with the no chin and stuff. So when I draw Sir Francis, I turn these things into eyebrows, and then I turn that thing into ears. So it becomes top of the head. If I don't draw his patterns, maybe it'll make more sense. Brow, cheek. He has chubby cheeks. You can pinch his cheeks. And technically I have his, from the side, if you look at his face, his nose comes out and then his snoot. So it attaches back here, and then he has a kind of triangle upside down snoot. the whole time I draw his snoot is basically just, what would a pig look like? Try to make it look like a pig. Sometimes that's all there is to a design, is make it look like the actual thing. For the longest time I thought his tusks came out from the top of his mouth, but I think they actually come from his bottom jaw. Gotta make sure he has a good amount of neck fat on the back. Like his neck here has to be substantial enough to support all that chub. And then his ear is a little odd because it attaches to his brow. So it's just, I just gotta make sure it kind of follows the contour of the face and goes out like that. I don't know where it should go. Something like that, maybe? I don't know. What else? Conceptually, his beard is more like a scarf. So if you think of a person, let's take this guy, right? So Sir Francis has sort of, there's the neck. Tie it right here. And it hangs down in the back. Like that. Kind of a Chinese style. The Chinese comics that I used to read, the characters would a lot of the times have this style. In Mulan, I think they also have this kind of scarf on some of the characters. So I went with that idea, except his scarf ties in the front and like flies around because it's actually fire, and then it flies up in the back instead of drapes down. Then I just gotta get his belly in so we can see his patterns. It's just wrapped around with this brown fur all around his body. It's just brown fur wrapped around. It kind of drapes down like a skirt on the bottom. Goes all the way around. His arms attach right here. So like Popeye's arms. Give him some Popeye's arms. This shape that I do for that part of his arm is kind of unique. I don't remember why I decided on it. It was mostly just to make it simple. Like I can't even remember what actual canon Embor's design looks like with this part, because I've just drawn it this way the whole time, and yeah. But yeah, so he still has the S shapes along the sides of his belly, but then right here in the middle, he has finally fully formed the oak leaf of fire. Yep. It's my boy. It's a fat pig. And then, of course, the stuff on his feet are just, I just think, boots. A lot of the times when I design things, I don't do it necessarily with specific elements in mind yet, but then as I draw it more and more, I realize, oh, this thing, whenever I draw it, I think boots, or like I think this, and that just slowly becomes more and more incorporated into the design. If you look at my characters the first time they appear in the comic versus the like now, it's probably actually different. It changes over time. Whoa, Foxy! Look at that. It looks like some kind of undead lion. I really like the fangs and the shape of the what do you call that part? The bridge of the nose, the snout is really solid. Like you can see where the planes change from the top plane to the side plane to the front of its face, and it all matches up very nicely. That's some good form right there. Thanks for sharing, Foxy. That's what I have trouble with, keeping the planes separate. And like proportions and all that. You saw me drawing the brick earlier, even with something as simple as a brick, like literally a cube. It was a struggle. Little dog looks a little bit drunk, but that's the nature of in-betweens. In-betweens always come out a little drunk sometimes, especially in between blinks. I think part of it is also attributed to the fact that the face is a little deformed. Once again, I've lost the shape of the face. Alright. Well, that about does it, I think. Just play it real quick. I didn't care what to do for the background though. Any ideas? Maybe like a drop shadow or some fire. You could also do lightning. That would kind of match with the face. I don't know. Do you want to do like an actual illustrated background, or do you want to do something graphic and decorative? It's up to you. You can have him like emerging from the shadows, maybe. Tails says, "Very quick." Very quick. What? Thank you for the explanation. Yes, thank you for the question. It's a lot of fun talking through my process. Yeah, it is pretty fast. I think if I had more time, I might do some more in-betweens to smooth it out, especially at the end where it just like snaps open. But as it is, I think it works pretty well. It's not too fast to me. If you don't struggle, you're a muggle. I think it's the other way around. If you struggle, you're a muggle. Muggles struggle because we don't have any magic. Let's end this off with just one more drawing. If anyone wants to give me a random Pokemon in the chat. I'm gonna draw it as quickly as I can in Flash. And see how far I can get. Oopsies, why did it turn into... Why did it do that? Why did it become a movie clip? I wanted to just delete... Insert... Oh, because it crashed. Okay. That makes sense. I want it to be a graphic. Anticipation turn. Paste frames. Okay, Xerneas! Why would you do that? Okay, I'm gonna go with Xerneas because I drew a Flygon last time. Not last time, but recently. I drew a, not a proper Flygon, but I drew a Flygon Bannet Mimikyu kind of thing. I can draw a fast Flygon. Let me... Fast Flygon, coming right up. There's a comic chat that me and Tails and Chico are on Discord, and it's mostly for it's for people who do Pokemon comics, and we had a prompt earlier this week, last week, to redraw a Pokemon in a different aesthetic. And one of the people's on there, their aesthetic was to like draw the Pokemon as realistically as possible. And then I come in with this kind of aesthetic. And I'm like, I like it when my Pokemon don't make anatomical sense. In fact, the least amount of anatomical sense it can make, the better. Okay, so I don't know what Xerneas looks like, but I can try. Okay, I think it's a deer. I'm gonna draw it in the style that I've been developing. And maybe that'll sort of hide the fact that I don't know what it looks like. I just assume it has like ears. I know that's a bold assumption, especially in Pokemon, that anyone would just automatically have ears. But I'm gonna assume it does. And I know it has really big antlers. These are more like moose antlers. They make them more skinny. Okay. Something like that on its head. It's got big ol' antlers. And then it has like shoulder things, I think. And then feet that look like this. Why is it so big? It doesn't look right. Let me start over. Okay, hold on. What does it look like? Hold on. It's a deer, which means it has ears. Okay, I think it does have like fur things on its neck, unless I'm thinking of another. Does it have a tail? Oh dear. I think it has like I don't know. I have a feeling it like stands on tippy toes for some reason. It has like these weird sword feet, and I can't get that out of my head, so I'm gonna give him sword feet. I know these aren't swords, but you know, it's like it's the thought that matters. And then the X comes from its horns making the X up here. Maybe it has like a gem here or something. I'm gonna give him one. That's as close as I can get. That's my Zernia. I'm gonna look it up now and like find out it's actually the big bird and not the deer, or like some completely different. It's a giraffe with horns and jewel. I like my cartoons. It is a blue deer. Okay, so at least I got the right one. Xerneas. Let me try this again with the... Okay. So, here's the actual one with reference. What is happening? Okay. So it doesn't have ears. Good to know. I have no idea what's happening with its head, you guys. I have no idea. It's like... There's just tendrils and stuff just coming out. Oh my goodness. Stuff coming out of the stuff. There's like stuff and then stuff on the stuff and then the more stuff and... It looks really cool altogether. It just doesn't look like something I ever want to draw. Okay, cool. That's the head. Oh, hey! I got one part right. It does have these things on the side of its neck. Oh no. That's not the side of its neck. That's the... That's the shoulders. It does have sword feet. This guy looks like more of a sword legendary than whatever that wolf thing is. Oh, I like his tail. I never noticed it had a tail. It has this floof of a tail. I like the tail a lot. Oh, and I like its little spots. Xerneas is a baby, you guys. It has spots. You know how only baby deer have spots? Xerneas is a big baby. We've made a discovery today. Xerneas is just big baby. Okay, well, there you go. My attempt from memory versus the real deal. And with that, I think we have run out of time. In fact, we're quite a bit over, but it was a lot of fun. So, as we kind of wind down, I just want to say thank you for joining me tonight. It's always a lot more fun when I have folks to watch and to chat with. Let me catch up a bit. I've put pictures of it. Xerneas, like the collider? Cernias? There's no way it's pronounced Cernias. There's stuff on the stuff with the stuff. The newer legendary mood. I thought it was Xerneas. Yeah, like, I can't think of another word that has the same. It's the place that Ed and Al's dad originally came from. What's that place called? Anyway. Thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I hope I get to see you guys next week, where we're out of July. The new Jet's Black Nuzlocke episode will be out. I hope you guys like it, and until then, I'll smell you later. Bye bye.